This week on the Digital Marketing Scoop, we're discussing the power of split testing. Hey everyone, welcome to this week's episode of the Digital Marketing Scoop. This week we're discussing split testing. So I suppose the first thing is, for those of you who don't know what split testing is basically it is where you would take one version of a page, another version of a page, send the traffic to both of those and see which one performs best. So which one turns more visitors into customers or more visitors into leads. It's basically a way of how we use it here massively is making sure we're increasing clients' conversion rates. So basically that we're turning more customers into leads and into sales.
Yeah. I mean, split testing can be used across so many different things. Like, so you may have heard it being referred to as A/B testing and things like that before. I think whether it's split testing or A/B testing you're calling it, it's the important thing to remember is that what you're doing is just continual trial and experimenting and just keep at it. Yeah, absolutely. So how can it be used? Well, I mean, there's just so many different ways you can use it. Yeah.
From, I suppose, one of the most obvious ways is if you have an e-commerce site and you have a product page on that, you might have your title of your product, you might have a video, you might have the description. So you might have all these elements. And we'll say traffic is going to that page and maybe you're converting 2 in every 100 visitors into a customer. So you might take your page and you might change your headline on that page and send half your traffic to your original version, half to the other, and see which performs better. And if we'll say that new page now performs at 2.5%, you might take that and then adjust another element and test that again and incrementally try and bring up those conversion rates over time. Just
keep going through it. And that's what I mean, don't ever stop. This is kind of something that, and it keeps you ahead of the trends usually as well if you're split testing, because you'll hear about something. If you're in it and you keep split testing, you'll hear something that, I heard this works really well, we'll try it out. I think the most important thing is when you're using it is to make sure you have a control always. Being your original or your best performing one, just always keep your control, and then you can do lots of tests around it and incorporate it. Then that's your new control then for the next time.
And the same principle works as well if you're in like Google Ads or Facebook ads in terms of testing different creatives. Yeah. So like if you're running an ad on Facebook, instead of just doing one version of that ad, do 3, 4, 5 different versions of that ad, put that out, see which one gets the best engagement, see which one gets the best conversion rates, see which one is driving the most impressions at the lowest cost. So you have all these different factors. But if you're not testing multiple variations of the ads, you're never going to know which one will actually perform the best.
Yeah, and it's especially important with creatives because it's that one piece of the puzzle that you can't slot in until the end, and you're never 100% sure how people will react to it. Yeah.
So there's a couple of tools that we use in-house. I actually use a tool called Visual Website Optimizer, which was a very good tool, but since in that time, Google has come out with their own one, Google Optimize, and that fully integrates with Google Analytics. So like if you have all your goals and your KPIs and all that set up within Google Analytics, you can bring those across into Google Optimize. So you can start running split tests pretty quickly using that. And the other tool we use for landing pages then is Onbounce. And basically that allows us, especially if you're more rather than e-commerce, if you're more lead gen driven, that we can deploy through Onbounce landing pages very, very quickly and scale like multiple variations very, very fast. So especially if you have a load of traffic, it's very easy to deploy variations using Onbounce.
Yeah, and I think the important thing to note with Onbounce as well is that it's nearly a drag and drop tool.
Yeah.
Like it's a real visual builder. You don't need to have coding experience. You don't need to have a huge amount of website or even Word. Now it'll be helpful, but you don't need a huge amount of kind of website experience to be able to build a good landing page on Onbounce, because we sound like sponsors of Onbounce, but it's really good.
We don't have a podcast sponsor yet, so if you're listening.
No, yeah. But we swear by it though. It's a really good tool.
It is fantastic because, as you say, you don't need any web design experience really. And especially if you are, we discussed this in the previous podcast, if you are running Google ads and you're sending people to pages that aren't related to your products, sorry, not related, but if you're sending to the homepage of your site instead of to your specific service, you're going to pay a lot more for your ads. So with Onbounce, you can deploy a page about your service quickly and split test it very easily. So taking out the images, changing those, changing the headlines on the page make an absolutely massive difference, because it's the first thing people see when they hit your page is that text across the top. And instantly someone based on that text may either continue reading or leave your site. So split testing those headlines at the top of the page is hugely important.
I'm always amazed by just those things that make huge difference on a page, like the header. But then of course, if you think about it, it'll make sense because it's human instinct to go left to right to read, and the top left corner of your page is going to make the most impact, because that's our instinct is to go there, and you just need to kind of think. And like that tool, Hotjar is good for that. I mean, you can put it on your website and you can get like visuals of where people are going, and just kind of concentrate on those kind of heat maps. Essentially of, and do split testing on those little kind of areas of that's a great thing too, because that's where people's, or maybe not particularly eyes, but it is their eyes, where the mouse movement is drawing. You can see it on a heat map in Hotjar, and they go, okay, if everybody's focusing on this area, I need to run different tests in this area to see if I can improve my results. So again, with split testing, another place it can be used is in remarketing. So if you've got people to your website, once you're putting ads then back in front of them, you want to be retesting those ads as well, because they're going to engage with them in different ways. And it just comes back kind of similar to with Facebook ones, with the creatives being so powerful. It's the same in remarketing, that instead of the person seeing one ad after they visited your website, they should be seeing 2, 3, 4 different ads. And then obviously you need to measure the results of those, find the best performing one, see what elements of that ad were best performing, and then start that process again. And I think remarketing is probably even more important than for split testing than your kind of original campaign. First of all, like your remarketing campaign should always be signaling a slightly different message than your original one, because it's a different step in the funnel or your circle or your cycle of customers and how you're working with that process. But with remarketing, they're already aware, they're expecting just that little bit more. So I would always kind of up your game a little bit with the remarketing, and that includes the split testing as well, making sure that you are continually just changing it up, because there's nothing worse than seeing the same ad 30 times in a day. Keep an eye on things like your frequencies in your ad accounts around how often are people seeing that visual, and just change it, because people just, it blends into a background when you see something every day. I mean, I don't know how many times I've walked down the street that I walk every day and gone, I never knew that building was there. It's going to be the same with your advert. Once it visually blends into the background of a news feed, it's not worth it anymore. You just need to change your creative again.
So I suppose, look, the key takeaway is to do split testing, because I know 90% of people are running the kind of their own campaigns. They're not doing split testing. But it's, have a look at Google Optimize, have a look at Onbounce, and within your Google ads and your Facebook ads, start creating multiple creatives for your campaigns, because it will just, you'll be amazed at the difference that it will make to your bottom line, basically. Yeah, and even Facebook itself will give you there is a tool or an option in the ads where you can run the split test. You can just turn on A/B testing, and it will tell you at the end of the week which one performed best. I mean, it's not a matter, you don't need to go in and go, right, this was this and this. You don't need to sit down and figure it out either. It'll tell you, and I'm sure there's plenty of tools that will tell you for all different aspects of your either ad campaigns or landing pages, which is performing better. So, and then the important thing is to take that winner and build on that and one again. Do another test. But definitely just keep an eye out for some good tools in the split testing area, because it can be time consuming, and that's why I assume a lot of people don't do it. But if you're familiar with Google Analytics, get on Google Optimize as well, I would say, and start playing around with that, because you once you get the feel for that, then you'll be able to start rolling out to split test reasonably quickly. Definitely. Thank you very much. That has been this week's episode of the Digital Marketing Scoop.